I bet. Welcome back to another episode of Toxiris Thoughts. Nah, we ain't. I bet. Welcome back to another episode of Toxiris Discovers. Today we got 7 albums, as always. 5 discovered or suggested by the community, and 2 found by myself. Before we get into the video, though, I want to talk about last episode, since I asked y'all if you want to have more non-hip hop episodes. The voting was made it pretty obvious what y'all want, and I even found a better comment by the man Kieran Cartwright, who at this point is basically running this channel. He had the idea that I should just make every episode an open episode, including hip hop and non-hip hop. Now, since I already know y'all want more non-hip hop episodes, and I think it's a great idea, I would be ready to put that into place. So for this episode, suggest whatever genre you want, including hip-hop, including everything else which is considered music. And yeah, let's get into it.
It's the gang, we done came on. The gang.
So, today we starting off, as always, with the projects I found for myself. This time, Table's Turn by Fredo. I am a huge fan of Fredo's 2021 projects. There are 2 of them, and they are both great. I love both of them. And those were the first projects I heard from Fredo, so I was like, yeah, let's go back into his catalog and look at his old shit. And I have to say that back then, the voice just didn't feel as good and as cold as it does these days. It's still a very solid project with good flows and good production, but it's far from the greatness, or not far, but pretty far from the greatness of both of the projects released in 2021. Whether that's Independence Day or Money Can't Buy Happiness. I think both projects are way better than this one. Still, I can appreciate that artistical development, and I think the project is still really good, has a couple standout tracks. These 2 would be my favorites.
Yo, I'm charging my phone. I just flipped to this white and now I feel like the dark's gotta go. Just started my hating ass niggas. They be hating on this. Fredo.
And yeah, even besides these, there are a couple good tracks, but there are also a couple of tracks where I'm like, this is just boring, bruh. Leave it. Anyway, still a great project. I don't think it's too long. It's around 35 minutes long, 12 tracks. That's solid, bro. I'm down for that. I'm cool with that, and I'd give it a 7 out of 10. Let's get to the next project I found for myself, Fear of God 2, Let Us Pray by Pusha T. Now, since on Friday, Pusha T's new album dropped, and I absolutely loved it. I mean, I think I rated it a 9 out of 10 on the main channel. I absolutely loved that project, and I was like, yo, I like that, but I haven't heard that much from Pusha T. I only heard the prelude to King Push, Darker Before Dawn, and I heard Daytona, obviously. So I was like, well, let me hear some more. And one of the projects I checked out was Fear of God 2, Let Us Pray. I haven't heard Fear of God 1, which is weird, but it's also not on streaming, so I gotta find that somewhere. Anyway, this is a great project. Once again, I think Pusha T's cold flows are really something that can never get old to me. It's absolutely fantastic. I think the production is something really good too, and I think even though on his albums besides Daytona, he seems to rely on features a bit, not too much, but quite a bit. I think he uses those features in the right way. I think he can put them into the album without making it feel like it's not his album, and without the features fucking the album up. So I like the inclusion of the features on here most of the time, not all the time, obviously. These 2 would be my favorite tracks on the project.
Yo, let that body work, nigga, we spraying. Ride with 3 kings and I ain't talking about the I'm feeling myself. Pause, one more cup and I might take off.
And yeah, overall, just a great project. If you haven't heard it yet, check it out. It's not that long. It's really interesting. And I would give it an 8.5 out of 10. Well, with that being said, let's get to the projects suggested by the community. The first one being Remember My Name by Lil Durk, suggested by the man Lorsum. Honestly, I was really disappointed on this one, because especially old Lil Durk is something I really enjoy, and especially the first 2 Signed to the Streets tapes are my favorites by Durk. And this is kind of from that era. This is from 2013. This is not like new Durk. And still, I think besides a couple exceptions, these two, for example,
The streets is my hustle. I've been through the struggle. What them people be with you, what they really don't. This bigger than money, this bigger than fame. Remember everything that I did.
I think besides these two and a couple more exceptions, this project is just really bad. Like, for Durk standards, I don't think it's horrible, but I think the way he uses auto-tune on this project sounds absolutely horrific. I don't think there's anything enjoyable to it on some tracks, and I'm just really disappointed by it. The production is not bad, but I don't think you go to a Lil Durk album for the production. Same thing for the lyrics. I think just the main point why I listen to Lil Durk is maybe the energy, which was not given on most of the tracks on this project, and the enjoyability of the hooks, of the verses, whatever, and that's not given on a lot of tracks here either. So I would overall give it a 6 out of 10. So I don't know, I think he has way better project than this. Next project we got Foreign Exchange by RX Papi and Good. I don't know, bro, I don't know how that shit is pronounced. Suggested by Kieran Cartwright. This project is really short. Like, it's 20 minutes long, 8 songs, and it's really interesting, I guess. Like, these tracks, some of them sound offbeat as hell, but they have like a fun feeling to them, and that makes them kind of special and kind of cool, because they feel like a, I don't know if this is a good description, but y'all ever met a really quirky, small, pretty chill girl, and y'all be like, yeah, you cool, but that's it, you cool. And that's how I feel about this project. I don't know if this was a good description. I don't really care either. That's just the way I'm feeling. And yeah, I think it's cool. I think it's interesting. I think it's something special. But I don't think it's really something I would bump on the daily. These two tracks would be my favorites, but really they're pretty exchangeable. But because I don't think the tracks stand out from each other that much.
You know me wrong. I said, baby girl, you're wrong. That ain't even what I'm on. Sell a nigga, use a lot. In this bitch with prescription pills. Ain't got no cell, I'ma sip it still. Click in my hand like be still. You move wrong, you could be killed.
And yeah, with that being said, I would overall give the album a 6.5 out of 10. I think it's pretty okay, but I think there is a lot of room for improvement there. Even though I think the style itself, they could keep it at. Well, then we get into the next project, which is DNG by Drain Gang, aka Tybo Digital, Blade, and Echo 2K, suggested by the man Cyphic, once again, the man who is basically Swedish at this point by the amount of music he's suggested by these people. Anyway, this was also a pretty disappointing project in my opinion. I don't know if y'all have watched recent Toxiris Discovers episodes. There has been a lot of Drain Gang and Young Lean content, and I know Young Lean is not Drain Gang now, but I would still put them in the same kind of music. I mean, they're all from Sweden, so they're basically the same, right? Nah, I'm playing, but it's just I feel like I now got more used to the sound than I was at the start. And still, this project kind of disappointed me. I felt like Echo 2K was easily the worst member on here. Like, he was, I just didn't like what he did. I think Tybo Digital was the most disappointing one. I still think he had a better performance than Echo 2K, but I expected more from Tybo Digital. And really, the man who is carrying this project is Blade, not only because he has the most tracks, but also because he brings the most enjoyable things onto this project. So I think overall it's not a bad project. It has a couple enjoyable songs, enjoyable hooks, this and that, as always. But it's just, I don't know, at some point this just gets really boring to me. And that's something that recently hasn't happened that much for Drain Gang projects, in my opinion. So I would overall rate it a 6.5 out of 10 once again. Then we get to the next project, which is Last Ones Left by 42 Dugg and SG, suggested by the man Zhao. This project was pretty interesting because I am not the biggest fan of either of these two artists. I mean, I've never heard of SG project, but from what I've heard from 42 Dugg, except his most recent project, I didn't really like it that much. Just because I think he can have a pretty annoying voice, but as I said, on his most recent project, he used it very well. And I think on this project, he does that too. I think most of the tracks on here are not like special or great, but they all have a bit of energy at least, or an enjoyable hook, or at least something to be remembered by, even though the album overall is not that memorable. I think the chemistry between these two is something I just didn't expect that much chemistry from these two. I know they're kind of connected, and I think they made songs together in the past, but I just didn't expect that kind of energy and that kind of chemistry over 17 tracks. It was kind of surprising to me, and I mean, it was a good surprise. I think the project was pretty enjoyable, especially for something I didn't expect to find enjoyable. So overall, I would rate the album 7.5 out of 10, and these two would probably be my favorite tracks off of the project.
Stress some, lately I've been dreaming, putting this heat on the next one. Look, bro, on me, sign him, I can't sign him. Peace out shit no more, I'm in the wholesaling. And I don't really trip out selling records, cause my dope selling.
Get to the last project of the day. God's Father by Lil B, suggested by GGS. Now you know why this video is called 2 hours? Question mark. Yes, this project is basically 2 hours long, and it's my first Lil B project. Just to throw that in there, it's the first time I have heard anything from Lil B, and I gotta say it's not that bad. I think what carries this project most of the time is, first of all, his flow, and second of all, the fantastic production. This man has so many great beats on here. I mean, he has 34 tracks on here, so he should have a couple, but he has a lot of great beats on here. Obviously, not every track has a great beat, and honestly, if he would have cut like 12 to 15 songs off of this project, I think it would have been like close to a 9 out of 10, because there are a couple songs that sound really great, because as I said, it's not only the production that is good, but also his flow over that production. So yeah, it's really only the length and a couple tracks that feel like fillers to me, and that outro. God, what the fuck was he doing on that outro? I mean, I can appreciate it, I love you too, man, but Jesus Christ, that sounded horrible. I mean, if y'all don't know what I mean, go listen to it. This is a weird track, but I don't know. Anyway, these two would probably be my favorite tracks. Let me know what you think about them.
Somebody help, I think I made a mistake. I just shot a man down, put him in his place. Now I'm back, it's official like ASAP. Riding all day, you would think I use my backpack.
So with that being said, what do I think about the project overall? I think it's pretty good. I think for the length, it is more enjoyable than I expected, and I would overall give it a 7.5 out of 10. Because it is still a pretty enjoyable project, but and I'm talking way too long, bro. Way too long. And lyrically, not really that special. I mean, he does have a couple cool bars, but it's not like, just the content of the lyrics is not really that special or outstanding in any sort of way. That being said, thank you for listening, thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments what you thought about my reviews of the projects. Let me know what you thought about the projects themselves, and suggest some projects for the next episode. As I've already said, it's open, so you can suggest whatever genre you want, as long as it's music and something that is not over 2 hours long. I mean, if it's slightly above 2 hours, I can go with that, but if a project is 3 hours long, I'm not listening to that. Well, thank you for watching, thank you for listening, have a great one.
Remember back then, all them hoes ain't want me. Now I'm ballin', all them same hoes on me. Mama told me that this came with the money and the motherfucking fame, even though I feel the same. I'm that nigga now, I'm that nigga now, I'm that nigga now, I'm that nigga now.